Experience your shopping like never before, only at Marcus Al Bahja.
That's very, very interesting question, and as you described, it's a journey, and this is what we like to explain it in Otaxi. It's really journey, and journey has its own surprises. It's a general advice for anybody. You need to be good, and in order to be good personally, you need to invest in yourself. This is the basic advice that I would really recommend it to everybody. This is something in mind. This is indicative also that the tourism is boosting and we are recovering from Corona times. So this is a really good news.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Spotlight. Today we have a very inspiring guest, Harith Maqbali, the CEO of Otaxi. From giving digital access to customers to ensuring safety and fair price, he has revolutionized the taxi system in the country. Harith, welcome to TAS TV.
Welcome, TAS.
And thank you for coming to our studio.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine.
It's always a pleasure to have you. I want to ask you by starting the question, what actually inspired you to start Otaxi?
Actually, if you think at the end, I'm a customer and I need transportation. And as you know that in Oman, we have we're relying too much on the individual cars to travel around the city, to travel across the wilayat here. So a transportation service to the airport is much needed. So at the end, I'm a customer, and from that pain, I think I start following the path and try to find some solution until I end up developing Otaxi.
You know, I know for a fact that it's not easy to start something like this. What were the challenges? I know I've heard of those stories, but I'm sure it'd be more inspiring for our readers and the audience to know, because the journey that you came through was not easy. So what were the early challenges that you had faced when you started Otaxi?
So the story began in 2014, first with a group of people that they participate into competition and they win the second place, and basically they are solving this problem, and at that time I really liked the idea and I joined that team. That was in 2014. Then we had so many challenges. This team is regulations here in Oman, financing the projects and all these sort of challenges, and like any project without challenges would not be accomplished. So challenge is part of that project. So we start overcoming slowly, especially, for example, the regulations. The system here in Oman is still not yet equipped or fully regulated with all standards. And then once you get the approvals and we got the license from the regulators, it's very difficult to sustain or to finance the project, because you need people, you need staff, you need project, you need technology. So you need to look at funding, and still we don't have the funding structure here as well. So all these challenges, but the idea is you need to start, and you need to start slowly solving the problems until you reach wherever you want to go.
You started with 30 rides, if I'm not mistaken, in a month.
Exactly.
In 2018.
Exactly.
How many rides do you take this in like last month?
So in 2018 is the real start for us, where I participated in Otaxi as a full-time employer. I was the first employer. Then we start gathering a lot of resources to develop. At that month, we did one ride per day. So in the whole month, it's 30 rides. Right now, we are doing quite hundreds of thousands of rides per month, and we try to ensure also quality of rides for for our passengers.
One of the main concern, in fact, even during the earlier times, I'm sure you must agree, is the taxi prices. There weren't any set prices at that point of time. How do you kind of fix the taxi fares now?
That's one of the biggest challenge, actually. Indeed, it was really difficult. The market was it's up to the driver to decide whether there's no meter system. Drivers, individuals, they have their own say into the prices. So at that time, when we started with a very small group of drivers, and we educate these drivers. We tell them we need to set the rules, and that's the tariff was approved by Ministry of Transportation at that time, and we tell them we have to start the system. So this driver was the early believers into the system, and they believed into that will attract more even customers. That's why we started rolling out the tariff. So that small drivers bring another drivers, and we start growing from that time.
How do you hire drivers? Is there any qualification required, or do you give training when they join? Is there any specifications that you meet, or a criteria that you set before you hire a driver?
Yes, as we go through our journey at Otaxi, we develop so many rules, and we develop so many governments so that we control the process. Right now, we are giving the opportunity for job seekers and people with the medium or low income to join Otaxi only. So they have to register, and then they go through the certain filtration process. We confirm their behavior issues. We try to assess their car conditions, and after they complete all these assessments, they go for full or 1 day training, let's say, with Otaxi. And then once they qualify, we let them into the system, and we monitor their rides for entire 1 month, for example, to ensure these guys, they know how to use the technology, they know how to use the technology basically, and they know how to handle the customers, the different customers, and then we qualify them as the drivers at Otaxi.
In December last year, you broke the story of female, like you're planning to introduce female taxi service in Oman, and I think it was through the CEO conclave that we organized.
Exactly.
You announced it officially,
exactly.
And in January it was implemented.
Yes.
The first in the country.
Yes.
How has been the response so far?
Okay, so we touch base in the content because we are from the society. We realize that a lot of a group of people, they don't want to go to taxi because of the privacy of Omani cultures and personal desire to go with the female drivers. That's why we realize the need for basically female drivers driving only girls. We approached the regulators' offices, and we presented with a full study in this matter, and we told them there is a gap in the market, and we need to fill this gap. After a certain time, after a little bit, we got the approvals, and at that time it was in the CEO clave where we're getting the official license, and I announced it personally there at the council. But the official announcement came at January. We started the service in mid of January, and Alhamdulillah, it's doing good. We have more than 50 drivers right now. They are doing almost 5,000 rides per month.
How do you categorize your customers? I want to know the percentage. How many percentage of Omanis do you have? In terms of the passengers and the expats.
That's a very interesting question. At the beginning, it was people who doesn't has a car, or people they really desperate need to ride at the beginning, where people they don't know the technology. So mostly it was expats, but right now we have all the nationalities, we have everything, and actually Oman is contributing to almost 50% of the rides. It's continued to grow as we involve more people, and there is a lot of almost 10,000 new customers to the service every month almost.
I think in 2019 it was 1,500 taxis.
Yes.
Now how many taxis are on street?
We started with very small, even 20 drivers, 30 drivers, and then we started growing. We reached 1,500, and right now we are reaching almost 2,500 drivers.
Great, that's good. That's a great growth, in fact, in 3 years space.
Yeah, but we are not looking to the number of drivers. We are looking how fast we can reach the customer. This is the main KPI.
How do you manage that? The terms of the frequency I'm talking about, like you're saying the speed. Yes. At which they can reach the customer to drop off.
This is exactly, we have a department that look at the analytics, We measure everything because all this data, and we try to treat this data, analyze this data. And one of the KPIs, we measure actually how long from the driver accepting the order until he reach the customer location. And the data we have, it shows that it's around 5 minutes.
Great. One of the concern or the subject that have been, I mean, it's not about Oman, but I'm talking about internationally, is the safety that comes with taxi system. How do you safeguard the safety of the passengers?
Of course, we take safety seriously. Myself, I'm using the service. I'm a customer at the end. I know a lot of people are using it. So if we need to ensure safety, this is not talk. This is a very big red sign for us. We have to, at all times, no matter what, we have to ensure the safety. We have some ideas to put some cameras inside the cars, but this is due to privacy issues and confidentiality issues from the customers and from the driver's side. It's still not approved because a lot of customers says this is an invasion of privacy. I'm taking the ride with my wife or with my sister, and I don't want to be recorded into the camera. Other than this, we are taking everything. We know all the trip is recorded. We know exactly when the car start moving, and we know exactly to the seconds when the car has stopped and where did they pick up and how the driver behave in terms of the driving. We have tracking system. We can live show this data to our control room, and if there is, for example, this is typically what happens is some customers left things or left belongings. If they call the customers, we can easily track the system.
So one curious question: do you go on a secret trip to find out how good your drivers are?
Of course, I always do this. At the end, I'm customers. We have this called mystery shoppers.
Okay.
So all my friends, myself, we're taking the trips and we're assessing the situation.
I remember you telling me last time that you have plans to expand to the other parts of the country. How has been that going?
Yes, we don't want to cover only Muscat. We want to expand to whole Oman and ensure that we are available at across the region, all the wilayas, everything. So we are available right now in Musandam with a special permission to use the typical normal cars, because in Musandam they are a unique area where they don't have taxis or orange taxis, the traditional Omani taxis. So there we take the permission from the government to use the private owned cars. So we are in Musandam, we are in Suhar, we are in Brahimi, we are in Nazwa, Sur, and in Harith, of course, we need to be in Salalah. So the next 2 months is really we are available for our tourists, for our customers, for our passengers, for our locals to serve them at passenger. So we are trying to cover the whole areas of Oman.
The Qatar World Cup is starting in November. I know it's a big news for the region, especially for Oman in terms of tourism.
Yes.
We know for a fact that Oman Air is planning to shuttle, close to 48 flights a day. Around 3,000 passengers a day will be shuttled between Qatar and Oman to watch the World Cup. Any plans for Otaxi in terms of helping these passengers to tour around Muscat when they?
Of course, this is something in mind. This is indicative also that the tourism is boosting and we are recovering from Corona times. So this is a really good news for Salalah, for World Cup and Muscat International Airport. We are not officially allowed to be customers from the airport, but once they move out from the airport, we can take them around the cities, we can take them around the transportation from A to B places. We can do a lot of services such that, and we are ready for that. We want to introduce a new small trips like around city tours or small tours like around Muscat. If you want to see Al Jami' Al Akbar, or to want to see the fish market in Matrah, or to go around the National Museum or something, we'll be introducing special packages, small packages that just cater for these tourists at very convenient and affordable price to go and to show them the city. This is apart also from the wide. We try to educate our customers, our drivers, that this is the nice tourist restaurants, for example, and we try to strike deals with the restaurants also to bring them to customers and try to connect the need between the passengers that they come visiting Oman to the things they would like to see in Oman, either it's a nice places or a nice restaurants within the city.
How has been the journey, Harith? It's been 4 years now. I know the COVID has had a huge impact, not just on your business, but everyone else's. But keeping that away, how has been the journey for you personally and for Otaxi over the last 4 years?
That's very, very interesting question. And as you described, it's a journey. And this is what we like to explain it in Otaxi. It's really journey. And journey has its own surprises, has its own little things happening and things you will never ever expect, like Corona. Nobody in the world expect Corona, where our business went down to 90%. But that's test the agility and test the resilience of our company and how we are ready to face such challenges and such equipment. For example, when we hit with Corona, we asked this also, are we ready for online and remote working? And the answer was yes, because we tested. Can we manage at very difficult financial times? Yes, we did. And I'm glad to say that we have never touched the salaries of all the employees of Otaxi itself. So we managed to drive through these difficult challenges, and that's telling us how our organization is resilient to any change, any surprises, anything happening not only in what happened in the past, but if there's anything new coming, we are ready for it.
And what has been the biggest lesson for you?
You need to be ready for the unexpected.
Okay.
Seriously. So when we started to 2020, we had big plans to expand, to do this and to do that, and even we went for almost we approached investors to raise money. But then Corona hit us, and when Corona hit us, everything stopped. And when everything stopped, we had to change things. And actually, one of the interesting things has changed is we start to focus on long-term study. For example, the study of female taxi was done during Corona.
True.
So we had a lot of time at the houses. We don't have operations, and we start to look at how we can utilize this time. And there is where the idea of or the time we're spent into developing the idea of female taxi. We prepared the full study, almost 100 pages.
Okay.
Was done during Corona time.
So you got good amount of time to.
Yes, of course. We at least use the time to do something. So it's as you said, it's a journey, and we should be ready for anything. And we personally, I like this journey. It's so thrilling. It's a roller coaster. It's always, you cannot even predict what happened tomorrow. It's always surprises.
One last question. What will be your advice to a budding Omani entrepreneur who wants to kind of fill up your shoes, who wants to kind of start not a similar business like yours, but something newer, something innovative like yours?
It's a general advice for anybody. You need to be good, and in order to be good personally, you need to invest in yourself. This is the basic advice that I would really recommend it to everybody. Challenges are always there. Problems are always there. They will never disappear. If they disappear, we don't have anything to do in this life.
True.
So challenges are expected to be there. Problems are expected to be there. But how to overcome these is to invest in yourself, to educate yourself, and not only in your area, but you need to educate yourself about financials. You need to educate yourself about leadership. You need to manage yourself in emotional intelligence. You need to deal with a wide range of people that you need to handle them. So, and you need yourself to be educated up to the speed, and you need to know exactly what happens in the United States markets, in the Indian markets, so that you can cope with these changes. So the basic advice, you always need to develop you always need to equipped with the new skills, always. And if you come with that, you'll be ready to face any challenge. You'll be ready to face any problem in the future.
Thank you so much, Harith. It's always a privilege to talk to you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here at TAS, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Shukran. Thank you.